The president's visit to Davos was, by any measure, a smashing success. He was adored by the elites, he engaged world leaders on the sidelines, and he delivered a speech that was disciplined, serious, and unapologetic.
I will always put America first, just like the leaders of other countries should put their country first also. But America first does not mean America alone.
The president delivered a calm and reasoned defense of economic nationalism, while at the same time showing respect to our international allies. But regardless of how well the president performs, the media, they'll never give him a fair shake. It's really pathetic. Here's what some of them thought of the Davos speech.
It was quite different in tone to the more measured, I guess, what's the word, sedated, some people say.
I have never seen a lower energy level from him, where being the content was a victory lap. It was almost, I felt like he was almost going to fall asleep at some point. I was struck by the lack of verve, and I've never seen him more low energy.
Well, had the president been really animated, they would have said, he's yelling, he's shouting, he looks angry, the ugly American. He sounds like Il Duce. Now, we know this clique of journalists in D.C. and New York has never understood the appeal of Trump. They've said he's unhinged, he's ill-suited for the presidency. And remember, even before Inauguration Day, they insisted that his arrogant tone and populist policies would destroy him and the planet. Well, they portray him 24/7 as a dictator in waiting and a fanatic who demands loyalty from everyone around him. Well, that's not what the people in Davos saw. But at least now we see who the true fanatics are: the media themselves.
The breaking news, a military dictatorship. That appears to be what the White House thinks the United States is.
The impulses of a tyrant, the impulses of a dictator.
He attacks the news institutions, which is what Franco and Hitler and Mussolini and a whole bunch of other people did.
The kind of strategy that, what do you have? I mean, dictators and tyrants have used.
He's attacking the press. He calls them the enemy of the people, which is rhetoric that you usually hear from people like Mao and Stalin.
Yeah, they killed like 20 million to 60 million people, Mao and Stalin, but just the same as Trump. Oh, my gosh. These people are simply slavish adherents to a worldview that is elitist, and they're addicted to policies that are frankly growing more unpopular around the world as the days, weeks, and months go on. And I'll say this, very few of them have the professionalism to step back for just a minute and absorb the positive news that the Trump presidency has actually created for America. Now, aside from the rare ABC headline, like, why aren't more news organizations heralding the news on jobs, economic growth, soaring consumer confidence, the good news for African Americans, Latino Americans? Because it works against their own worldview, that's why. Now, think about it this way. Imagine if the opposite had occurred. If Trump had presided over an economic downturn. Now, they would have said, we told you, Trump is going to destroy the world. These same reporters and pundits would have pounced on his conservative populism and blamed Trump for the derailment of the Obama recovery. It's so transparent. No wonder the media's approval and the ratings keep falling. But I'll tell you this, the media aren't the only rabid fanatics that Trump and his agenda have exposed. Just look at the reaction over the past 24 hours to the president's immigration reform and DACA plan. Now, last week, remember, he was set to offer 800,000 DACA recipients amnesty in exchange for border security and end-to-chain migration, visa lottery, et cetera. Well, the Democrats rejected that deal, and they shut down the government. It blew up in Chuck Schumer's face. So this week, after working with a broad group of senators, the president has widened the amnesty pool to 1.8 million illegal immigrants. That's a million jump. Now, this move, truth be told, has agitated the president's base quite a bit. Their opinions were expressed on my radio show today, and they were overwhelmingly critical.
if Trump goes through with this like this, he could very well lose my vote in 2020.
If he does that, he's committing political suicide. Not only is he going to demoralize his base, he's also going to kill the Republican Party. If he continues to pursue this, he's clearly lost me as a voter. I don't see the difference between him and Obama.
I did not vote for Trump for him to do this, and I will not vote for him again if he does that.
That's interesting. Did you notice there were a number of Hispanic voters in that montage that we just put together? Fascinating. Now, everyone knows that this is not the plan that I was hoping for, and certainly not the one that I think Republicans in the Senate should agree to. But what's happening is the president is taking this risky gambit in an effort to finally get common sense immigration controls in place. And what he's thinking, I believe, is that we have to end this massive influx of immigrants into the United States who are admitted without regard for need or merit, what they're going to bring to the country. And we also must stop the wave of humanity, illegal immigrants, busting across our southern border every year, only to stay for however long they want. Now, like it or not, that's the administration's thought process. We'll see how it all works out. Unfortunately, Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate for Congressman Bob Goodlatte's bill, which I believe is much better. It's ridiculous that the Senate's not embracing that. So what the president did is he actually moved toward the middle in this immigration compromise. Again, not where I would be, but I'm just telling you the way it is. When he did that, he enraged his supporters, and he perhaps even risks his own reelection by doing that. So think about that. He did all that. And what are the Democrats saying in reaction?
Let me just say what I said last night. That plan is a campaign to make America white again.
If you start putting in all of these highly charged, toxic issues, it's just not going to work.
I don't even know what that comment meant. But these people are total fanatics. They are fanatical for open borders and endless migration of low-skilled labor purely for political purposes. And we didn't even tell you what Chuck Schumer said yet. Now, as I said earlier this week, Democrats believe that they have to repeal and replace the American electorate who voted for Trump and continue to vote for Republicans nationwide. They have to get rid of those voters, or at least swamp them with new voters. So Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, Durbin, et cetera, they have to keep their grievance society growing and their identity politics racket going. They have to do this, they believe, in order to win elections in the future, because otherwise, what are they going to say? The economy's thriving. Country's doing really well. They have no ideas. I think they're out of the ideas business altogether. All they believe in is division, identity politics, the blame game, calling Trump a dictator. That's all they have. And if this all means, by the way, this immigration view that they have, if it means like lowering the standard of living for the average working person, the average citizen, by allowing in all these new low-skilled workers, well, so be it. And for the Democrats, if that means continuing to resist Trump, even when his policies are actually benefiting Democratic voters, so be it. I'm telling you, these people are dangerous fanatics. And it is they, not President Trump, who end up destabilizing and destructive forces in the body politic. He's exposed them like no one has before. And that's the angle.